In Japan, both the public and private sectors are working together to achieve the SDGs. We commend good practices by giving Japan's SDG awards and naming the SDGs future cities, focusing on PR activities to make the SDGs better known. As a result, more than 85% of executives are aware of the SDGs, and many of them wear the rainbow-colored SDG label pins on their chest. The SDGs have now become a boom among the younger generations who will shoulder the future. I have a friend whose son is still in the second grade of elementary school, has said things like, "Let's separate and throw away the lids of plastic bottles. We need to reduce the garbage on the earth, and there are children in the world who can drink only muddy water. Let's use water carefully to save the world." He is trying to act on what he has learned about the SDGs at school. Such greater awareness and a series of steady efforts will be the greatest shortcut to achieving the SDGs by 2030. All people, including governments, local governments, businesses, NPOs, and children, need to work together to take concrete actions. It is also necessary to deepen international collaboration, building on the success we have achieved in each country and region. In finalizing the Voluntary National Review, we also had a deep discussion among ministers on what Japan should do in the decade of action, especially as regards to building back better from the COVID-19 pandemic. Japan will direct its efforts with particular emphasis on the following 2 points. First, to achieve universal health coverage, we'll give the highest priority to strengthening our efforts in the health and medical fields through ensuring equitable access to vaccines and other tools, promoting last one-mile support, including cold chain development, and extending support for developing countries, particularly those with vulnerable health systems. Second, we will promote the realization of a green society and digital reforms and address climate change. With the aim of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050, Japan will lead the international community's efforts toward decarbonization by providing a total of approximately $60 billion over the next 5 years, comprised of both public and private funding to support climate change measures. The key to these efforts is innovation, making full use of Japan's world-class technology and know-how. We will lead the world in the drive to achieve the SDGs. In the following video messages, we will outline Japan's specific efforts together with the voices of various stakeholders. We hope that this will lead to further deepening of cooperation within the international community and the acceleration of relevant efforts geared to 2030. Thank you.
Currently, local cities across Japan are facing issues such as declining populations and shrinking local economies, and the population of Omuta City has continued to decline ever since the closure of its coal mine. In order to solve such regional issues, we believe it's important for local governments to work on the SDGs as their own issues and take action for regional revitalization driven by the SDGs. All of Omuta City's elementary, junior high, and special needs education schools are members of UNESCO schools, and the Omuta City Board of Education is promoting ESD. At each school, children and students learn to identify, think about, and tackle local challenges on their own and undertake joint activities with the local community. As the children communicate what they've learned with the local community and take action, the number of local citizens thinking and acting together with the children has increased. Omuta City's efforts have been featured in the Japan SDGs Award and the SDGs Future City and introduced as a best practice throughout Japan. In 2020, Japan's course of study was amended to incorporate the perspective of building a sustainable society. ESD is now being promoted in all elementary and junior high schools in Japan. The number of local governments working on SDGs is increasing all over the country, with the percentage increasing from 1% in 2017 to 39.7% in 2020. Furthermore, cooperation among local governments across national borders has also been expanding through the SDGs.
Human security, upheld by Madame Ogata during her lifetime, is the overarching concept of Japan's development cooperation. With COVID-19 affecting all SDGs, human security is vital to build back better and achieve sustainable, resilient societies. By protecting and empowering people, we can ensure that freedom and dignity of each individual are not threatened by future shocks. Our development cooperation has reached more than 150 countries. Working on the ground to address poverty reduction, human development, and sustainable green growth, we are collaborating with a range of partners in alignment with SDG 17. They include the private sector and NGOs harnessing the power of Japanese innovation and technology.
We believe the technology and innovation of Japanese companies can contribute to the SDGs. LIXIL's innovative Sato products were created to meet the needs of the 2 billion people around the world who lack access to safe sanitation. We've shipped these products to over 38 countries, providing improved sanitation for approximately 25 million people. Leveraging our expertise in water technology and our global supply chain, we're working to drive sustainable change by improving health, sanitation, and access to safe water in developing economies in Asia and Africa. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've developed the Sato Tap, a novel hand-washing solution designed for those who lack hand-washing facilities in the home. We're now working with our partners to promote hand hygiene practices globally.
SHARE is a Japanese NGO with the aim to provide grassroots support to enhance the health of people around the world. In Cambodia, for example, we are now implementing a project to improve childhood nutrition during the most critical period of child life for the first 1,000 days. By supporting the capacity development of staff and local volunteers at the health centers, we are seeking to secure the foundation of the child's lifelong health by monitoring their development in the early years. Additionally, we have been holding complementary classes to support childhood nutrition together with municipalities through the youth cookbook that we have developed with the Japanese nutrition expert to provide nutritious meals using local ingredients. We will continue our cross-sectoral collaboration hand in hand with the local communities.
The poverty rate in Japan is higher than the OECD average, especially for single-parent families and children. In fact, many adults who come to home for counseling have suffered from disadvantages and difficulties since childhood, and they are still suffering from poverty today. In recent years, we have received many emergency calls from people who have lost their homes and are living in internet cafes or on the streets. We are observing that the COVID-19 crisis has made this tendency even worse. In the midst of this situation, the Japanese government created a post on Minister for Loneliness and Isolation and is about to start a variety of initiatives. We hope that the public and private sectors will continue to work together to achieve a society where no one is left behind.
We are working on sexual and reproductive health and rights in Japan through raising awareness among the people. The impacts of COVID-19 are already being felt harder by women and girls in many areas of life. The number of consultations of anxiety about unintended pregnancy has increased in Japan, especially among young girls. As a step forward, we have collected more than 110,000 signatures demanding better access to emergency contraception and submitted them to the ministers concerned. In order to change the male-dominated society and achieve the SDGs, more concrete efforts should be made, and voices of people, especially those women who are in vulnerable situations, should be heard. Sexual and reproductive health and rights and gender equality are essential components of the SDGs.
An inclusive society is being constructed through various policies. Accessibility, especially transportation, is advanced by the participation of organizations of us, persons with disabilities. We also welcome the amendment of the law to eliminate discrimination against persons with disabilities by obligating private sectors to provide reasonable accommodation. However, two biggest barriers are not yet cleared. Government still regards separate special needs education as indispensable, although the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities emphasized inclusive education. Institutionalization hinders our community living and equal participation.
In order to build back better from the COVID-19 pandemic, Japan will further accelerate its efforts, both in Japan and overseas, to realize a world where no one is left behind, based on the progress and challenges identified in the VNR and in cooperation with multiple stakeholders.